Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Now, having been an engineer, I know that quite often what you do when you say, okay, this has to have a certain type of connector. And it has to go on in a certain way. Somebody out there on the assembly line says, well, you know, that really doesn't work so good for us because it's kind of a pain in the neck trying to put that on there that way. So it sometimes gets modified slightly. Sometimes it gets totally messed up. When you go to take this ring off, there's a little mark on this side. You see the unlocked padlock on the right side and the locked padlock on the left side. That means that if you tap this and spin it that direction, it should lock. If you spin it the other direction, it should unlock. So the locking ring should come loose if I tap on this. Now they sell a wrench for it. I thought, you know, how often am I going to pull this pump off? God, I hope just once. So, in that case, I don't want to spend a lot of time and money on tools that I'm going to use once. That, I tried taking the line off. It was a real pain. So, I went and bought that. It's still a real pain. These connectors are handmade of the devil. Really don't want to use them on anything I build. Okay. So I have to knock off that ring. And to do that, I'm going to use a brass punch, which is over there, and the hammer, which is right here in front of me. Hopefully the big camera is going to catch all this because I don't want to have to try and hold a flashlight, this cell phone, a hammer, and a punch. Not quadruple-handed. If I was from Mars, perhaps. Now, I've already blown all the dust off the top of this thing, so hopefully this is going to work. Oh, no. It says, nope, don't think so. Is it trying to move? Perhaps a little bit. There's a bunch of dirt underneath there. Before I get that ring any further out, and take the air hose and blow all that dust off of it before I get it to the point where there's an opening to the tank. Well, it is moving a little. I got a whole pile of rocks in here. Get those out of the way so I don't have to worry about hitting them, which I should have done earlier. This is a video showing how I'm doing this, not how you should. And try not to think like an engineer, because this is the guy that made this thing to start with. And then accounting said, oh, those fittings will cost too much if they're made out of stainless. We should make that pump out of mild steel. Yep, if we make it out of mild steel, it'll last 12 years. Nobody has a car older than 12 years. Yep. Geniuses, every one of them. But it saved the company tons of money, and so they could afford to ship everything over to China. Well, it is moving. Not liking it. I got it to move about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm kicking rocks out of there. Okay, I'm trying to get this locking ring off, and some genius of an accountant decided that making the locking ring out of mild steel was the most cost-effective way to build it. Just keep working it back and forth. Now mild steel rusts, and rust has this thing called rust jacking. That's because the oxygen combines with the iron, and the iron oxide breaks free from the iron and gets thicker. So you build something like this with a locking ring made out of iron, and then it rusts. And you already tightened it up. You put it in there and you locked it down. Now it gets pretty darn tight. So I had to take a 1-pound hammer and a brass punch. Brass doesn't make sparks. And you build something that operates in the real world and drives over roads that are made out of stone and clay. And the clay forms into stone on its own when it dries out. And this thing is a chunk of rust. Well, let's hope it's not a tab. Look at that. Locking ring came off. And it's rusty and caked up with crap and got these little notches here, detents, we call them in the business. And that detent makes it so that when this locking ring gets around where it belongs, it falls in there and locks up. So I had to beat it about the head and shoulders to get it to come free. Tell you, this hose is starting to annoy me. Okay, one last thing before I lift that off. I'm going to blow as much of the dust as I possibly can. All right, now, while I'm still at the opportunity to change my mind situation, I'm going to open up the box that has the new pump in it. Take these parts, clear them out of the way because I don't need them anymore. Turn off the light, save the batteries. Put the hammer back, and a pair of pliers, and the tool for releasing the quick disconnects. Now we come over here to the box opening location. And I have a box with a new pump in it. This pump on the cover doesn't match the pump that's on the inside. This is a FG1304. Or a DFG 1304. Works for a 4-cylinder or a 5-cylinder. Because this is the large pump. Protect the pump. Clean the tank before replacing the fuel pump. Probably a good idea, and I will do that. But for right now, I want to get this fuel pump out of here and look at it. And above all, read the directions. Now this pump is sealed in a nice clean plastic bag with some information on it. Stop, arret, alto. Failure to clean the fuel tank may void your warranty. I've got 20 gallons of fuel in that fuel tank. Failure to clean the fuel tank may void my warranty. It says right here on the front, big red tag. And I think it's a good idea to clean the fuel pump, or clean the fuel tank. So I will have to pump all the fuel out of the tank and put it into 5-gallon cans, which I have sitting nearby, ready to use. At the same time, I want to read the directions on how to go about this. There's a full set of directions on the piece of paper here. I'm not going to bother reading them all to you. I'm going to take the time and read them though, because I'm an engineer. This kind of stuff fascinates me. I used to be a technical writer, which means I wrote these things. And I always was frustrated when somebody said, well, how do I do it? I said, did you read the directions? Because I spent a lot of time trying to make it so that anybody could read them. I went out to the guy, no mark on him, but I went out to the guy on the line who put the thing together and I said, does this make sense? He said, yep. I went to the engineering manager and I said, does this make sense? He said, yep. I went to several people out on the shop floor, randomly, and I said, does this make sense? They said yes. I said, come on, I want you to do this using these directions. And I would take them out to whatever operation we were doing, and I'd say, okay, here's your directions, put this together. And if they didn't, if they had a misunderstanding or couldn't figure it out, I would correct the work instructions to say, oh, make sure that if you're left-handed, you put the wrench in your right hand, no matter what, because you can't reach it left-handed. Actually happened. So, I have a profound respect for work instructions, or directions. We call them work instructions. So I'm going to shut off the camera and I'm going to sit here and read my work instructions and understand how this guy wanted me to do it. I have a full tank of gas, at least 15 gallons. I think I'm going to take the gas out of the gas tank so I can clean the bottom of the gas tank, make sure I don't have any crap in it. Nothing is destroyed or dynamited on the pump, so I imagine most of the things that were supposed to be on the pump are still on the pump. It was a hole in the line ahead of the pump. The top of the pump is pretty badly rusted, but it doesn't look like that has gotten into the tank. It doesn't look like the bottom of the plate rusted. There is one fitting that has rusted through, but it doesn't look like that's going to get down into the pump. In any case, I want to pump out the gas out of the tank just so I can look at the bottom of it and make sure everything's okay. And when I looked at what I had available as far as gas cans that I was willing to commit to putting alcohol gas in, because that's what you get now when you buy regular gas. The truck is designed to burn regular gas with alcohol in it. It's got a completely plastic fuel system. Yep, no aluminum in there. So the stuff won't eat up the tank, because the tank's plastic, and when it gets water in it, which alcohol gasoline always does, it's going to automatically run through the system, get pumped into the engine, and burn. There was a situation a long time ago where somebody was saying, oh, you got to inject water into your engine to really make it burn well. I don't know what fors and why all's about that happening. That's not anything that I was really interested in other than as a curiosity, and I noticed when they mentioned it. But in any case, the alcohol in that system will corrode any steel can I put it in. And I've got a great many of these gas cans, but I don't want to get them all corroded. I bought alcohol-free gasoline, and I have it stored in some of the cans, mostly two big round cans. I have a 1 6-gallon can and 1 5-gallon can. 11 gallons is more than enough to run the snowblower, the lawnmower, the tractor. Well, the tractor will go through a lot of gas in a real hurry if you run it very much. But for most of the time, those 11 gallons that I get in the spring will last me all the way through summer and part of the winter. If I fill the snow, well, last winter I filled the snow thrower one time, beginning of the winter, and never had to put any more in it. I got that gas can, and I also bought a 6-gallon gas can. Now, why do I want a 6-gallon gas can and a 5-gallon gas can? That's 11 gallons of alcohol gas, which won't keep that long. Well, what I'm looking at Myers, I can buy up to 30 gallons of gasoline using a Myers Perks. And what it amounts to is, if I spend 10,000 points, which is about 1 month's worth for the rate we go through buying groceries, seeing as how the price has gone up. for those 10,000 points, I get $1 off up to 30 gallons of gas. That's $30. That's actually pretty good. The tank on the truck holds 20. The tank in the car may hold 22. I don't know. Never really paid that much attention to it. But I always said, well, I should be able to take both cars in and drive up to the pump with one, fill it, pull away, and have the other one pull up right behind it, and then run the other 10 gallons into that. Or, you know, because usually we fill the tank with about 15 gallons. We don't let it go clear down to nothing before we put gas in it. So I'm thinking best thing to do then is go to the gas station, fill the truck, fill this in the back of the truck, fill this in the back of the truck, or as much as we can, and then put that gas in the car. The reason I do it that way is because Lydia can't drive right now. And I thought, well, I'm throwing away $10 every time I do that because I don't use the full amount. I put gas in the truck. Normally what I do is I fill the tank on the car because we drive the car a lot more. I fill the tank on the car, and then that is at $1 a gallon off. And then I use the 50 cents a gallon off part of the operation on the truck because I don't use the truck that much, which works out. This way I'll be able to gain a little bit on the fuel. Now I went to the hardware store in town, Ace Hardware. I like them. Nice company, good people. But their prices are high. But I try and buy something there every time I need something small. So I needed some pipe dope because I was going to use the hand pump to pump out the tank with. And then I asked him about buying 4 5-gallon gas cans because I was just going to pump out all the gas into gas cans and have it just sit there, filter it, put it right back in. Well, that doesn't make any sense because their gas cans were $38 a piece. This one at Menards, which is the same brand, the same make, the same size as the one at the Ace Hardware, for $38. This one's $19. Plus I get 11% off on it. So trying to save money, trying to make things work, trying to combine all the things together in my life so that it doesn't break me. Because if I just went willy-nilly and didn't pay any attention to anything, I could go through all the money I have in my pocket in about 2 hours. So $79 worth of stuff today just to pump out the tank. That's the only goal I had for doing that, was to pump out the tank. Had to buy a new neck for this one because as I was pouring gas into the truck the last time I used this, I put the nozzle in the truck and it snapped off. Now the nozzle that was on it was about 10 years old, and alcohol kills plastic tanks too. Just not as quickly as it does steel. So, being what it is, I said, okay, I'll buy a new neck for that tank, and that way I'll have that one to go. I'll have 11 gallons worth of gas at home, just in case we need to go somewhere and there isn't a gas station open. Or the price all of a sudden went up to $15 a gallon. Who knows? Iran could just throw a wild hair and say, all right, we're going to set fire to everybody's oil fields. Seems like Iraq did that, didn't they? Yeah, they set fire to Kuwait's oil fields. They're kind of crazy over there, aren't they? So they may just decide, okay, if we can't win, we're just going to take everybody down with us, and they'll set fire to all the gas station or all the oil pumping areas in the Arab Middle East, just to watch it burn. You never know. But I will have 11 gallons of gas, plus I'll have a full tank on one of the other vehicles. And I have alcohol-free gas that I use for the lawnmower, the tractor, the snow thrower, the weed whipper, all the other various things that I don't want to have alcohol in because they got a carburetor on them. So that's where we're at this point. It's kind of warm. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and sun's beating down on everything. So I decided I was going to have lunch and then get ready to make supper. Then after supper, I'll come back out when it's cooled off, get back into it, pump that tank down, clean out the tank, swap out the pumps, because the pump matches, everything seems to work, all the hardware that I've got. The pump that I got from AutoZone seems to fit. That'll let me take care of that problem. I splurged and bought myself a battery operated pump. It's not a whole lot of stuff. It's a Performax from Menards. It's not a high dollar operation. Cost me 14 bucks. We'll see how it does. If it does well, I'll give it a recommendation. If it doesn't, I'll say don't buy this thing. Takes two AA or 2D batteries. And I thought, you know, I could use the hand pump, and I might still use the hand pump. But I thought if I use the hand pump, then I'm going to have to pump it all. And a warm day, I'd probably be out here sweating myself silly, and then having to transfer tanks and do all the other stuff. With this, because I'm not going to be working at it, I can fill the 6-gallon tank out of the truck tank, then walk this over to where the truck's parked, stick this back into the car, and turn on the pump, transfer the gasoline from the 6-gallon tank into the car. Everything will be good. I'm not concerned about dirt in the tank. Like I said before, I'm not concerned about dirt in the tank on the truck because it's not been open. It doesn't have anything that the pump didn't dynamite. It didn't fail because the pump failed. It failed because it rusted out. So that's where we're at right now. I'll have a fuel system that I can stockpile some gasoline and some kerosene, and that pump will pump either one just as well. It'll also pump oil. I don't have that much oil that I'm going to be pumping. I've got used oil, came out of the tractor, you know, transmission oil and engine oil. Altogether, that was about 20 gallons. Yeah, it does take that much. So, push comes to shove, I'll have some spare oil, I'll have some spare gas, I'll have the truck back together again, and life should be good. When I get the tank cleaned out and the pump back on, I'm going to roll this thing out, and I'm going to take out the little piggy sandblaster, you know, little pot on wheels, and I'm going to blast the crap off the frame and see if I can get most of the rust free. Doesn't look bad. I don't see anything that I have to worry about. Well, I got to weld that up. I was worried about that. I thought, looking at all those videos of trucks of the same vintage as mine, they all look terrible. So I'm pretty sure my truck stayed in the garage most of the time. It was a delivery truck for an auto parts store, so I imagine it got fairly well taken care of. Okay, into the house. Got pork chops thawing for dinner and steaks thawing for tomorrow's dinner. I like to buy ranch steaks. Ranch steaks are one of the cheapest, toughest pieces of meat you can buy. But it tastes wonderful. To me, that's what beef is supposed to taste like. And $5 a pound. You just got to tenderize it overnight. So you guys hang in there. We'll be back and working on this, but you won't see anything about it till sometime probably Monday, because this video won't go out until tomorrow, and we can go from there. Oh, and Chipmunk ate the fuel line. While I had the big doors open on the workshop here, because I'm working on the truck and I wanted to have lots of air in here while I'm opening up gas stuff. Wouldn't you know it, Chipmunk come walking in, saw me, turned around, took off. 10 minutes later did the same thing. Did that for the next hour. Kept coming back saying, is he gone yet? Is he gone yet? Wow, maybe he's living there. So I haven't seen him for about an hour. We'll just have to see. I think time for the Chipmunkinator to have a visit out here in the backyard. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.
We just didn't get much snow. Yeah, it's global warming. Anyways. Edit that out. That's a bad thing.